Hey, what's up, folks? Arctic here, and I got you guys some more Destiny gameplay. And this is more PvE. Actually, all the PvP gameplay, the Crucible gameplay that I have is from my live stream. So, yeah, you guys won't see any gameplay about me really talking about the PvP from PvP gameplay. Sounds weird, whatever. I'm reposting like rebroadcasts from my Twitch stream. If you're not following my stream, guys, links down in the description. Please, I highly encourage you to check it out so y'all can see some massacres going on and some shooters. I am streaming quite a bit more because my connection is actually a lot more stable, which is fantastic. I'm like thrilled right now. So anyway, today's video I want to talk a little bit about Destiny's maps, specifically for multiplayer, not necessarily the environments that we saw in the campaign, which I'll probably talk about in the future when the game is actually out. I feel comfortable talking about it then. But I will say that I kind of liked the persistent world that they had going on for the beta. I think there's some things that could be a little bit better, but overall I really kind of like that flow that they had there. But the multiplayer maps, so we had Venus, right? And then we had Moon. And Venus, I thought, felt like from a flow standpoint, on I believe it's Iron Banner, felt pretty good, right? Like, the map wasn't too big. It felt good even with 6v6, so it felt like it had just the right size and the number of players playing. Phobos actually told me there's also some 3v3 playlists that are going to be coming to an effect, so I'm going to be kind of anxious to play those as well. I imagine it'll be like the Fire Strike teams or what have you. So I think that would actually be pretty fun. But the Moon, this really reminds me of, I believe it was the Halo Reach beta, if I'm not mistaken, where, there was like one map that was particularly good in that beta that Bungie released, and then there was like Sword Base, which by the time by the time the beta was over, I just hated that map. And I kind of have that same feeling for these two maps that Bungie released. Now, I think Bungie has done an excellent job in the past making absolutely killer, awesome multiplayer maps that are so memorable from the Halo franchise. And while, the Venus map was pretty good, I don't know if it was necessarily memorable. It felt flow. The flow was good, felt good. But Moon, man, it was just like, it was an average, possibly below average map. Mostly because perhaps it was dominated by vehicles. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the vehicle gameplay. There was something about the map that just didn't feel right, like all the time. And that just could be me. It could be I don't want to say I don't like big team battle type stuff on Halo, but I think vehicular gameplay at times, depending on the map flow, just doesn't feel right. Like, for example, I love vehicle gameplay in Battlefield. It feels good on a lot of the maps. But I felt like on this, maybe there were some instances where it didn't flow correctly. Some of the spacing isn't right. And then one of the key things in the Halo franchise is the ability to kick somebody out of their vehicle, particularly, like Ghost and whatnot. And, I immediately assumed my very first multiplayer match, I'm thinking, okay, of course, Bungie has this in there. It's done deal. I go running up to almost like the tank-ish. It's the bigger one. And I try to jump on it, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to kick this guy out. And no, I just died, right? I got really, really close to it, jumped up, thought I was going to do something, and just destroyed. And I was like, oh, well, I guess they don't have that in the game. So that's one thing that I know is sorely lacking, is the ability to kick somebody's ass out of their vehicle. And I know that, it shouldn't really matter, how you can summon your own vehicle. Obviously, it shouldn't even matter there, because if someone summons a vehicle, they get up and leave. So, like, the opposing team can actually take your vehicle if it's just sitting there. So, I don't see why they wouldn't have that in there. And it's really surprising. Like, I want to see the animation. I'm imagining some badass animation, because all the animations from what I've seen so far seem phenomenal for the game. So, I was expecting like badassery going on, and it just didn't happen there. So, Moon was like a miss for me in terms of maps, and I kind of have this feeling that I don't know if they're going to focus a lot on the multiplayer map design with the game, but I am really concerned about how good a lot of the multiplayer maps are going to feel by comparison to perhaps some of the single player areas and destinations and how much detail they have. That's just one of the things that I kind of latch on to in any game that I've played so far. I think every game probably that you guys have watched on my channel, I have in some capacity talked about the multiplayer maps. And specifically for betas, I feel like if you don't deliver like that map that is so memorable that you know, people will just latch onto it, and then they just know that's the map that's going to be the shit when the game comes out, then I feel like you know, people might question, you know, how good the flow of the rest of the maps will be. And now, like I said, the Venus map is solid, so I know what Bungie is capable of. So, you know, I think that there's definitely going to be maybe one or two very memorable maps, but Moon was just So I'm really anxious to kind of hear what you guys thought about the multiplayer maps. You know, when I was streaming, there was a number of people like they couldn't stand Moon. I thought it was tolerable, but just not my favorite. I would not want to play that a whole hell of a lot. I would actually probably avoid that map more often than not if I could. So really anxious to see what you guys thought. Please leave your comments down in the comment section about Destiny's multiplayer maps. What do you think the future of the maps are going to look like in the Crucible? And if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to give it a like. I got plenty more Destiny coming. I got plenty more everything coming. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay frosty.